Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. Dr. Pete Chambers and I had a nice conversation in an earlier show where we talked about he's running for governor of Texas. He could be the president of the United States, guys. This guy is so well informed. He's unbelievable. He, I hope he does. I hope he at least gets Texas, and if he doesn't, he should run for president, right? So, and maybe that would be a good thing. Maybe he should run for president. I don't know. So we'll see. But you Texans, if you don't elect him for governor, shame on you. All right. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward in the election process. He talks about the election process. Election process is being looked at really hard. Now, it's probably going to have President Trump call some kind of emergency action for and that will give all the different states the ability to go in and make sure the election's done correctly. Right? There's been a lot of us talking about that. That's been talked about. I think that's probably what we're going to see. The system as it is right now is broken, completely broken. The only way that you're going to fix it is to do emergency action. So that's probably what I think we're going to see that. So the sooner that happens, the better. All right. But, it would be good if that had already been done because we're having an election in a few days in a lot of states. So anyway, we'll see how that turns out. So there's more election stealing and cheating from the Democrats as they always are going to do. So I don't know. Maybe there's efforts have been done to stop that, but we'll see. All right. Now we talked about, and this was very insightful. I'm going to play a little clip. We talked about the border. He went down there, former Green Beret. He's like a doctor, Green Beret doctor. Wow, it's like incredible. He even went through Green Beret training later in life. So, geez, guy's a total stud, and broke his leg and full disabilities. Incredible, but still doing the job. You know, went down to the border, worked down the border for a long time, and they were trying to force vaccinate everybody. I guess he saved over 6,000 guys from having to get force vaccinated. There was a Navy SEAL group that was trying to avoid being vaccinated. I think they were San Diego based, and that's where I used to work as a SEAL. Of course, East Coast too, but they were trying to get immunity from it through religious exemption, and the military has been real bitches back then, and so he helped testify in a case, and I guess they won that. So this SEAL group didn't have to get vaccinated. So he saved like 6,000 plus military men and women from having to get vaccinated. There was a two-star general. I guess he was a lieutenant colonel at the time. So a two-star general basically pressed on him and said, "You're going to do it." And he said, "That's an unlawful order." He got booted. He lost his career for that. And as we know now, it was an unlawful order, right? So that's hindsight. Very sad, unfortunate, but he's a wealth of information. So working at the border, basically working to stop the the flood from the Biden administration. We're going to talk. We talked a little bit about that. He was saying just in his sector, I think he said 30,000 terrorist level gang members came across the border into the United States just in his sector, right? So we're talking hundreds of thousands across the entire border, California, all of Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, hundreds of thousands, no problem, right? Maybe even millions, guys, of like extreme, violent, criminal, tattooed up, easy to spot gang members and so forth that are in the United States now. It's so he and I both said it's not a matter of if, it's when, right? When these cities are going to get hammered, right? So that's what we're looking at. Let me share the screen. We'll look at a little bit of our conversation. I think that everybody in the country should listen to this conversation. Quite frankly, this guy is absolutely a gift to America for running for governor, and hopefully for a higher office at some point. Maybe further in, he'll run for president. But geez, what an amazing guy.
And how many like, just for your estimate, I mean, you have probably a good eye for this because you've been down there so much. How many real terrorists do you think came across that border?
30,000 in our sectors. This is an estimate.
30,000?
This is an estimate, but during the Biden administration, this is an estimate. We had 12,500 show up in one day in Eagle Pass, and those were Venezuelans. And this was on 18th December 2022. I was I got out of the military. I was there doing some kind of human trafficking work when they showed up, and a good portion of them were from an organization called Tren de Aragua, which is the area of Aragua in Venezuela. They're the train of Aragua. They are thugs. They're out of prison. They're thugs. You know, tattoos of AK-47s on their face, that kind of stuff. It's not hard to identify a bad actor. So we were able to glean a lot of information based upon our biometrics, based upon our knowledge, and then we would look at the ones that would run away. The gotaways is what the official word is. Kind of weird, but that's what it is. And we would look at that number and say, okay, well, out of those, the reason they ran wasn't because they wanted to go to the centers where they were being accounted for, they'd given their court dates for 2 to 3 years out. We're talking about the people that specifically ran away from us, and some of those did get away because we just overwhelmed.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, Venezuela, I think we're probably going to spank them here pretty soon, but
yeah, looks like it.
Yeah, but
all right, so there you have it, guys. You got two long-term military vets that have still got their finger in the action of what's going on, what's happening out there. Both of us are saying we're about ready to spank Venezuela, guys. Right? So it's coming. Now you heard that Venezuela has sent massive numbers of cartel gang members, very violent potential terrorists, into throughout the entire United States. Probably every major city has some of these violent criminals, probably in some cities on a very significant level. I mean, hundreds probably, maybe even thousands of them. All right, so they are already well trained. They've been trained by military. Some of them are former military within Venezuela. So when we say that we're going to hit Venezuela, it's not just because we want to go in there because there's drugs coming from Venezuela. We're going in there because they're controlling all of those hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. They're controlling them that are here in America getting ready to go violent in our cities, guys. That is, I believe, the real reason why we're going to go in and spank Venezuela. And you should be very happy we're going to proactively do that. All right. So the other side of that would be to wait until they get violent. And then we're like, okay, we're tracing it. It came from Venezuela. So we're going to go to Venezuela and punish them for the hundreds of thousands of millions of people they've killed in American cities. Right? No. Proactive, preemptive strike now so that we can save lives here in America, guys. Right? And the left is going to scream and wail and call President Trump names and call all of us right wingers because we're supporting this. It's okay. It's okay because we're helping protect them too. Right. So when I was a Navy SEAL and in the CIA for 35 years, I wasn't just protecting people like me. I was protecting everyone, even the stupid people, right? So it kind of sucks sometimes when you think about it, but hey, sometimes those stupid people come very intelligent and do good things in future. Some of them, right? So I hope a lot of them in the future. I don't know. So there's a lot of activity that's about ready to kick off everywhere in the world. It seems like there's activity. Now this is against the deep state. Because when the deep state basically, let's go to World War II, Nazis, they were already positioned. They had already positioned themselves all over the world. There were Nazi parades in New York before World War II, right? You go look it up. You see them marching around, and then they went silent, and then you didn't see them anymore, right? Did they go away? No. They just took off their uniforms and infiltrated into everyday American life. And then after the war, of course, Operation Paperclip, where tens of thousands of Nazis and their families came to the United States and Brazil and Argentina and South America, all throughout South America, into South Africa, all over the place, guys. So it's still a worldwide war we're waging against the deep state, right? It's still going on, right? And President Trump and us, of course, are waging this war. Now, in Brazil, it's the Venezuelan gangs that are supported the administration. Lulu, the president of Brazil, of course, they outed their good president Bolsonaro, and now they basically have, like we had with Biden. I know a lot of you guys don't want to believe it, but Biden was basically, of course, he was a puppet. It wasn't Biden, all kind of crazy stuff, but he and that administration was basically a deep state terrorist organization, right? And fomenting more of that terrorist activity coming into the United States, like we just talked about, right? Dr. Pete and I just talked about, right? So it's good that you guys are seeing it from a lot of different professionals that have been talking about this for a long time. Now imagine he gets in that position in Texas, he will clean Texas and he will make that border safe. Because before that conversation that you heard, he was talking about how Green Berets that had come in and were doing an assessment were like, he didn't say it, but I'll say it for him. I'll be the one to say it out loud. They were ready to go hot, like bullets at people that were coming in, right? And they would have been completely in their right because, and I talked about this years ago, that Texas would have been in the right to do that because that's in their constitution, but they were told not to, and to get in their Humvees and drive away if there was going to be a threat like that. So those people came into the United States, right? Those people came into the United States. And I promise you, at Pete Chambers' area, that wasn't happening for the most part. And as he said, they were overwhelmed and they were getting around them on a massive scale. But imagine those areas of the border where there weren't Pete Chamber type people, which is most of the border, all up and down to California, New Mexico, Arizona, and good portions of Texas, bordering areas. So we had a lot of those people come on into the United States, guys. We have been raided, and it's been because of the Democrats, right? Democrats are part of the deep state. I know people don't want to hear that. Democrats don't want to hear that, but I'm a professional, all right? I've been all over the world. I've fought all over the world, and I'm telling you, our Democrats are evil. The Democrat Party is evil. It has to go away. I said this a lot, and people just don't want to hear it, but I guess I'll just keep saying it until maybe it happens. All right, so let's look at Brazil. So over, I don't know if it's still going on, but over a couple days, they're basically at war down there. This is what I see happening in American cities.
Outrage. Brazil is reeling after 132 people were killed in what is now being called the deadliest police operation in the country's history. The pre-dawn raid in Rio de Janeiro targeted the Red Command, Brazil's most feared drug cartel. But what was meant to be an anti-gang mission turned into a massacre. In this video, we explain how a single raid spiraled into warlike bloodshed, what residents witnessed on the ground, and why human rights groups are demanding accountability from the Brazilian state. Across the favelas of Alameo and Penha. Their target, the Red Command or Commando Vermelho, a powerful criminal group that began inside Rio's prisons in the 1970s and has since become a vast narcotics empire controlling huge swathes of the Amazon region. Authorities say the raid, 2 months in the making, aimed to capture the gang's top leaders and curb its growing influence. This is narcoterrorism. But residents tell a very different story, one of slaughter. Bodies were dragged from nearby forests and lined up along the streets. At least 132 people were killed. Families claim many were executed at close range. One mother, Raquel Tomas, said her 19-year-old son was decapitated by police. Another resident described seeing more than 70 bodies lined up on the main street. Local leader Arableton Correa told reporters, "I've never seen anything like this, not even in Gaza."
So I don't know about the decapitation. Of course, the terrorists do decapitate. I don't know. I'm not going to say that the police are wrong, that they did that, or who's claiming what. But the narco terrorists basically definitely do cut people's heads off and hang them from bridges and all kind of crazy stuff. It's happening. So it's only a matter of time. Not if, but when it happens in America, guys, right? And then you can thank Democrat Party. So Democrat Party has to go away. If you guys are out there voting for the Democrat Party, you have friends that are voting for the Democrat Party, you are basically voting for this terrorism that's coming to America, right? Now, we're trying to get, President Trump's administration is trying to get those narco terrorists. That's really who they're targeting, right? They're targeting those violent people. And you've seen some of the raids in Chicago. And of course, you have the Chicago mayor who needs to be tried. And I don't know how far that goes, but same thing with the governor. The governor laughs and says, President Trump he's like against me because I'm a Democrat. Yeah, it's against you because you're a Democrat, really? All right. So President Trump was a Democrat most of his life. So he got smart and got out of the Democrat Party. So this is what we're going to see: incredible pushback, and that's going to make it worse, right? So emergency declaration. Somehow, troops are going to have to come into American cities, guys. Right? And I'll think that this is possible when that cities won't be completely destroyed if we start to see soon the military, National Guard, of course, first, and then eventually we'll have to get drones, because you saw in some of those pictures in Venezuela, they were using the cartels were using drones, right? Now we know that these cartels have incredible weaponry. A lot of it came from Afghanistan. Thank you, Joe Biden. Would you really think that Joe Biden left all that stuff there so that it could just rot? No. These cartels basically got a lot of that, and they've shipped it across the border, guys. So we're going to see that in the streets of America soon, and that's Democrat Party, right? And yes, some of the Republican Party, absolutely. Rhinos need to go down too, right? I say just swipe the whole thing, put people like Pete Chambers and myself in charge, and we'll get this shit done. All right, but we're not going to see that, guys. It's Pete Chambers has a super tough road ahead of him. He's got he's I think he said I think 500 million. I will say it, the evil Republican side has 500 million. Of course, we know you have the Bush family there, and they're pretty prominent there, guys, still. And they're going to, try and fix this election, pump a lot of money into keeping people like Pete Chambers out of there. Prayers for Pete Chambers' safety, and it's a mess. America's is quite a mess right now, and we have in a few days we're going to have the first communist in the biggest city in America.
Winning New York City would be the biggest win for the Marxists, the socialists, in the history of this country. We have, to this point, in nearly 250 years, been able to hold off those kinds of ideas.
ideas. We've been able to cling to the foundational principles of America, the ideas of individual freedom and limited government and the rule of law and peace through strength and fiscal responsibility and free markets and human dignity. All those things are in jeopardy when the Marxists take over. And it's the clearest sign yet that the Democrats' radical Marxist wing is winning the battle for control of their party. Look at where the energy is. This should be alarming to everyone around the country. Mamdani has a course called to defund the police, to abolish all prisons, to legalize prostitution.
Defund the police, abolish prisons, make prostitution legal. So all the human trafficking that's coming across the border, it's going to get it. A lot of it goes to New York. A lot of it goes to New York. So I wonder who's behind him, who's behind Mamdani, Mamdani, right? Mammy pants, right? Whatever. So God, I can't believe we're going to see a communist in New York City. What in the hell is wrong with you, New Yorkers? You're a disgrace to our country, a friggin' disgrace to our country, right? You are as evil as the person you're about to put in there by voting that SOB into office, right? God help America. Jesus, unbelievable. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing this evil basically start to take over in parts of they've been at it for a long time. They're very clever, and of course not all in New York. And there's like pockets of good people, right? So, and probably, I don't know, New York, I think, has 2.1 million Democrats and like less than 1 million Republicans and so many hundred thousands of independents. So there's no chance that Mamdani doesn't win, guys. So that's the way New York Democrats always vote Democrat. For the most part, or if they don't vote, that would be good. But the other option is to have Cuomo, who basically killed thousands of seniors with the COVID. Geez, you got bad and bad, or bad and badder would be Mamdani. So I don't know. I know, David. It's like a whole nother planet there in New York going forward. And I love New York. I love the nightlife, the food. It's back in the day, it was absolutely incredible city. Back when the towers were still up. Even when the towers came down, New Yorkers weren't all that friendly before the towers were up. But after the towers came down, they were super friendly. And then I went back again many years later, and they were back to being voting for Mamdani. So I don't know. I don't know what happens there. I don't know if some kind of broadcast energy, stupid energy there. Where's Georgie girl? Georgie, she's a New Yorker. So I don't see her in the chat. But there's potential for extreme violence, I think, going forward. Definitely in New York City. We'll probably lose New York City. All right, that's one of the ones that a lot of us have said that will go. Right, so get out of the big cities, guys. All right, Venezuela is the center of the action. So what to know about Trump's Venezuela strikes and how Maduro responded. U.S. ramps up pressure. Venezuela pleads with Moscow and Beijing for help. Another Navy cruiser joins Caribbean flotilla. They put the biggest aircraft carrier, the Bush. Yeah, great. So the aircraft carrier Bush, President Bush, and it was like, wasn't it little boy Bush went down there when one of those Venezuelan presidents was like kind of gave him shit. He says, I wrote a book, you should read it. And then he died. Right? Then he died. Trump says he is not considering strikes with Venezuela after he said that he was. Right. So that's a telltale sign that it's getting ready to go down. So he's basically telling he's going to do it, then he tells you he doesn't, because that's the way a good disinformation program works. All right. So it's getting close. It's getting close. It's got to go down. Venezuela seeks Russian help amid fears over U.S. ready to strike military targets inside Venezuela. That's 13 hours ago. Venezuela Maduro says U.S. fabricating war. Yeah. Okay. So I told you what's really going on, guys. They've sent very violent terrorist units into United States that are military trained, and we need to do a surgical strike before this kicks off. All right, we take the head off the snake, and then it's a lot easier to piecemeal take some of these other people down. I saw in a chat while I was talking that somebody said that let's see if I can find it again. They were talking about, it is crazy speaking to Democrats. I ran into a Democratic family this past week, and I don't understand it. Right, wolf mother. Yeah, they just don't have any common sense. They're very emotional, and those people that are emotional are usually the least informed. Right. I don't know why that works, but that's the way it works. Right. Michael, it's not Republicans versus Democrats anymore. It's patriots versus communists. Yep, truth, Mike. Good. So anyway, it must be way back. I don't see it. But somebody said that the press is basically saying that, yeah, they're like arresting these illegal people, and they have no criminal records. They're just nice people that make tacos on the street and sing with little banjos and stuff. I remember that when I used to go down to Tijuana. That was cool. But yeah, that's not the case. So the press is the enemy, guys. Our press is also the enemy of America. And President Trump said that, before he even got elected the first time. He says, there's the enemy of the people right there. And he was pointing to the press every time. Said it for years, still says it, right? They are aligned with the evil side to basically destroy America. All right. So, meanwhile, in Ukraine, where I guess Venezuelans also fund the war, it's like crazy. They're basically getting spanked by Russia, very, very severely. And of course, they have. Kind of reminds me of Saddam Hussein. He says it was going to be the mother of all wars, and he, like, the first day, that we invaded, after bombing the hell out of Iraq for months, he disappeared into tunnels. Right, so the mother of all wars, and it was pretty much over in a couple weeks. So then the deep state got involved. And kept that thing going, guys. Deep state got involved and kept Afghanistan going for 20 years. It was over in months. And then the deep state got involved, and it just kept going and going, and people died. It's very, very frustrating. I've seen it all. Now, are we going to see the same thing in the United States? That's the intention. To start, violent action. It's already started here and there, and it's going to start to gain momentum. And will that turn into years of war in our American cities? It's possible, but not if you got guys like Pete Chamber, myself, and other places in the country. We're going to have to take charge, guys. We're going to have to, seriously kick the Democrats out, get them out of the way, put them in prison, hang them high, whatever it takes to get them out of the way. But otherwise, America is toast. So this is, and I'm not talking about all Democrats, please, you know what I mean. The evil ones that are convicted, that go to jail after being convicted, right? Military tribunals. They'll be like, hours. I got the evidence. Here's the evidence. Guilty. Either they go to prison for the rest of their lives or something else. All right. Now I want you to look at all across this entire front. Russia is striking and taking military action, and all across Ukraine, they're blowing up all the power stations. They find a train that's hauling military equipment, they blow it up. If there's trucks hauling military equipment, they blow it up. So it is getting towards the end of this campaign. We're very close.
He was saying this because the Russians are advancing along the entire line of combat contact, and furthermore, the Russians are about to capture completely the Pokrovsk agglomeration.
Okay, this Pokrovsk area, as you can see, the city, they started taking it over the last couple of weeks. It's been going very quick. They, as you can see, they seized almost all of the Pokrovsk area, and there's another city of similar size over here that they've taken or getting ready to take. All of these outside little towns and so forth. So you see this little stretch right here, all of this area right here, and I talked about this almost 2 years ago. I said if the Russians ever start doing pincer movements, they're going to really start to destroy Ukraine, American funded Ukraine. It's no longer American funded. Thank you, President Donald Trump. But you see this cauldron. They call it a cauldron when the pincer movements basically come around, and now it's a complete trap. It's over 5,500 Ukrainians in this area, and they're being slaughtered. They're being slaughtered because they won't surrender. Now, they had talked about doing a peace ceasefire for this area, and that they would send in press, and the press would basically, video everybody in there and say you have the option to surrender, and that's pretty much. I'm sure they've probably been doing leaflet drops and broadcasts and so forth, but they've been given orders not to surrender, guys. And this is the way. That's the way the Nazis were in World War II. That's the way the Ukrainian Nazis are still to this day, and they're being slaughtered.
During the first 24 hours, as you can see, the map has been changed significantly. We have a lot of changes on the ground, but probably today the changes on the ground are not the most important part of the situation around the city. So once again, Russians are saying that the Pokrovsk agglomeration was caught by Russians in cauldron without any chances for Ukrainians to escape this situation. But Zelensky is saying that everything is okay. The situation.
So again, they're given the option to surrender because escape is not possible. The drone war, guys, is phenomenal. They have drones that can target individuals now, and that's what they use, both sides. Of course, they have drones that are big enough to, where there's a group of people trying to, as many of the Ukrainians now, because the roads are completely impassable. All the vehicles that are on the road get blasted by drones. So they can't leave by vehicle, so they're trying to slip through the forest and so forth. And as you're going to see from the videos, they're targeting them in the forest.
Difficult but stable. And you know that today the Russians, the Russian special group Rubicon, this one, published a very interesting video. This is the wrong word, probably a very interesting video. It's better to say probably very, very, I don't know how to call it. Let's take a look at this video. Probably.
All right, so these drones have infrared capability. They started this a 24-hour drone strikes, drone capability. This started a couple of years ago. Over the last like 8-9 months or so, they have drones now that are wire guided, so they can't be affected by any signals that would jam them or take them offline or so forth. So there's nothing that stops these drones now. Wire guided, and they're devastating.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So what can we see in this video? We can see attacks, a lot of FPV drone attacks. And as you can see, the Russians this time were attacking not vehicles, not artillery systems, not tanks, not infantry fighting carriers. The only thing we can see is dozens of strikes on Ukrainian soldiers. Later, the author of this video stated that all these episodes, all these attacks took place exactly in the city of Pokrovsk, more precisely not in the city itself, but in the area of in the area of in the northwestern part of the city, so right exactly at this black area. So later, they published this video and they published this on their Telegram channel. And
so they have a long list here of these are strikes against manpower, against, like you saw there, soldiers trying to escape. All right. So they want to take these soldiers out so they don't have to find them somewhere else, guys. Right. And they don't have to risk themselves going into the line of fire. Now I've seen a lot of people that are out there saying that the numbers are equal as far as like how many people are dying on each side. I don't think it's equal at all. I think that the Ukrainians have been dying on a massive scale for quite some time, and that the Russians, of course, are also dying. You see that the Ukrainians have drones. They show where they blow up individuals that are out in the open. You see where they're like now the Russians are starting to attack once again with armored vehicles. They stopped it for a long time because of the extreme loss of vehicles from drones. Now they have started again, so we're starting to see a lot of even Russian vehicles that are getting destroyed. But massive loss of life on both sides, but mainly on the Ukrainian side. And there's like 5,500 Ukrainians, they estimate, I've seen as many as 10,000, that are in this pocket, and probably about 80% of them are going to get lost.
You can see the timings. So as you can see, every single 3 seconds, Russians, during this video, published another episode how they were attacking manpower. So this video shows us that during the previous night, and probably during all previous nights, the Ukrainians were trying to escape Cauldron on their own, without vehicles, through, let's say, tree lines, through brushes, through forests, through fields, and so on. And Russians were attacking them. And during just that video, we could see how Russians destroyed probably several hundreds of Ukrainians that were trying to escape the Pokrovsk liberation during the night. So this is the situation, and this is a total disaster for the armed forces of Ukraine. At the beginning of this squadron, there were around 5,500 soldiers. Most likely by the end of the battle for the Pokrovsk liberation, Ukrainians would lose around 70 or 80% of their soldiers.
All right, so this is the way it's been for quite some time. They've been doing the pincer movement, like I talked about a couple of years ago, and now they're seeing. I guess it was following me around. There I am. So I guess they were because they closed the windows, so it went off. Because they've been basically taking out town after town with a pincer movement. That instead of going straight in and getting annihilated on a massive scale, the Russians, that is, they did that in the beginning stages, and they lost a lot of men. And now they've learned how to basically go around, cut off the supply chain, and make them either run away, or as they're running, like you're seeing there, they can decimate them, and instead of like going head to head. That's usually 1-to-1 kill ratio or more, because a lot of times the defensive positions are harder to get out. Now, if you, like I said, if you basically cut off the supply and get them from behind, it goes the other way. Instead of the defensive positions basically killing more of the attackers, it flips it the other way, and that's the way it's been for years now. So you're seeing Ukraine, basically the Nazis of Ukraine, basically being annihilated, and then all of the people that come in to fight for them from around the world, and a lot of Europeans and from the U.S. Trying to get that money All right, so you get paid good, evidently, but is it worth your life? Because you go to Russian front, you're going to die, right? So I don't think they get as many people going out there. Probably people that will train, but even the people that are being trained, if they're in Ukraine, they get blown up. So they've done a lot of targeting of training sites, of training personnel that come in to train the Ukrainians. So I don't know how much they're doing that. They used to like blow up buildings full of NATO officers that were there to help train, and I don't think that's happening too much anymore. Now in Poland, they're doing a lot of training in Poland, and Russia has been flying drones and planes and so forth into Poland. I think this is kind of like Poland around are going to find out, because they're basically training and allowing all the supplies to come through Poland, doing a training right on the border of Poland. I wouldn't be surprised we start to see Russia strike into Poland at some point, right? And that's going to really get everybody their panties in a wad, right? They're not going to like that. And they're going to say, oh, foul. But Russia has pretty much devastated NATO already. They've done everything they could to destroy Russia. That was always the intent of NATO. When NATO was formed, it was formed by Nazis, right? Former Nazi generals were the heads of NATO for years and years. I don't know, maybe still are, but it's a mess. And this is another way for, I think President Trump is letting this thing kind of, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and he doesn't do anything. And in the meantime, Ukraine and the NATO Nazis are being decimated, right? So America has its own war to fight, internal war, which is coming, and of course the Venezuelans, which are funded and have infiltrated on a massive level, and not just Venezuelans. Of course, we know there's Chinese that have invaded. I don't know, maybe even Russians, right? Most of the Russians I see are peaceful, good people, so I don't think it's so much the Russians, but there's always a possibility. Russian mafia, that's definitely in America, so I don't know if they flip or whatever, but for the most part, it's going to be, I think, pretty brutal fighting in some of these cities in America, right? And President Trump is being, and we just started. We've just started this process. This is going to go on for years, probably for all of President Trump's term. And when he leaves, whoever replaces him, you have a former Marine, possibly his vice president, that could be taken over. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it seems to be. It seems like they're grooming him to take that position, which would make sense because you're going to get basically President Trump for another 8 years. Ted Nugent. What about Ted Nugent? You're going to put him in charge? He'd be badass. Right? Get his bow and arrows. He teach us how to shoot silent kill. Yeah, I love Ted. Always loved him. Great music. Always loved him. Saw him in concert. Nugent Vance. Oh, I see what you're saying. I got you. That would be interesting, right? You might need that. Might need a crazy guy like Ted Nugent out there. So, yep, Vance. He's a nice guy, but he's former Marine, and I think he would. I don't know. We'll have to see how he develops over the next couple of years. And if we do, everybody's going to start to talk about Vance as vice president now. We're going to pick Vance as vice president. Maybe because whoever it is, usually vice presidents don't do much. They're just a figurehead. But I think Vance has been very active for vice president. And I think that's going to be good for us. I hope it is going forward. Jesse Ventura now. Jesse got hammered by the deep state and just bowed out. And I don't think he doesn't like anybody. He doesn't like anybody now. He thinks everybody's evil. which is understandable because that's what he saw. All right, so what else we got? Winter weather that's coming now in New York from Hurricane Melissa. They're getting massive flooding in New York, so they directed the storm at Guantanamo, and I guess maybe the good guys like, okay, we're gonna hit New York. Right? So New York's bad guy land. So now, of course, you guys that live in New York, I've been telling you to get out of there, but somebody's got to stay there, turn the lights off when Mamdani basically destroys New York. So my hat's off to you guys that stay there. What a mess. That's California for me. Those guys that are still in California, God bless you. Right? I was out during the COVID nonsense, and I'm not going back until Gavin Newsom's gone and they got somebody in there that's going to do a right job. And I hope that happens. We'll see. We'll see going forward. There's a lot of good people that are stepping up, trying to, do the right thing. And I think that's going to happen for a lot of places, especially if they come in and do the right election stuff. So Louis Herms would be fantastic in California on so many different levels. But he doesn't have, and a team can come together because there's, I know he told me kind of some of the people that were ready to back him. So it can happen very quickly where he would get a good team. Kind of probably the same thing with Dr. Pete Chambers. If you're good and you got good ideas, because he wants to do away, Dr. Pete Chambers wants to do away with a lot of the taxation. Of course, Texas doesn't have state tax, but they do have property tax. And he's talking about doing away with property tax. Lewis is talking about doing away with property tax, because California definitely doesn't make enough money if they didn't throw it all away in transgender transitioning and who knows what else. So all the crazy, stupid stuff that these liberals in these cities do, basically tax us, and they shouldn't be taxing us, especially if you own your own home. But you shouldn't have property tax to begin with, right? A homeowner shouldn't have property tax because pretty much what they do. If I move into an area and I buy it at a certain price, to say I buy $1 million home, and over time, over the next 5-10 years, all the homes around me go up to $2 million. So my home is going to get priced as a $2 million home. So I have to, instead of the $1 million home that I came in and was paying tax on, now I got to pay on a $2 million. I haven't even sold my friggin' house. I may sell my house 20 years later and property taxes collapse, like we have which is coming. We have pretty much a Great Depression. So, and all that time I was paying for a property tax on a house that I never sold. It's bullshit, complete bullshit, right? So we need to do away with property taxes throughout America. So Texas is looking at it. Oklahoma's looking at it. Of course, Florida's looking at it. It's going to happen. So I quit paying school taxes. And yeah, school taxes, that's just a scam. It's just a scam. Many other ways, could be property taxes on businesses and all that kind of stuff. So that makes more sense than it does for people that have, residents. You shouldn't have to pay property tax on a resident. So we'll see. All right. So weather-wise, let's look at what's going on with the weather. It looks like it's going to, Miguel has been saying, it's going to get cold. Frío. It's going to get muy frío.
As well. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you have a very great day today. Look at this for this morning over here in BC, British Columbia. They have 99 miles per hour wind gusts reported over at the Chester Lake Dam. That is a lot of strong winds over there. Now, we still have this weather pattern coming for the next 5 to 7 days where it's going to be relatively quiet.
All right, so 5 to 7 days, it's going to be a little bit quiet, but then you're going to get a deep freeze coming down into the middle of America. As you see here, the remnants of Melissa is spinning over here, and it's not. I think it's not a tropical, not even a tropical depression anymore. It's breaking up, but it left New York with flooded streets, right? So we're going to see a lot of storms coming into America and over the next week.
Towards BC and Western Canada. But as we go through the next 5 to 7 days, so forgive me, I have to go past that to show you this weather pattern. Now, for this morning, we still have a hurricane that's just leaving past Bermuda, and we have these storms hitting over here in New England. I think we'll pass by later on for today, but the next weather pattern is going to bring you some weather as well. So I'm going to show you the whole weather pattern as a whole right here. You can see on your board history that storm system leaving out through New England. We have the storm system that's hitting over by Alaska. This is bringing a lot of weather over here towards BC and Western Canada. But as we go through the weekend, we see all this trough coming in, bringing this cold air, very cold wind chill still, and still showing it could bring some thunderstorms over here towards Florida, a little bit towards Carolinas.
So very, very cold weather. I talked to a woman in my LifeWave business, Jen. She said it was like 55 degrees in Florida. It's like 55. Wow. That's colder than here in the mountains of Lake Tahoe. It's crazy. So Florida's going to get even colder. You see that spinning vortex there, going to bring them more rain. They've had a lot of flooding that's been happening in Florida. Of course, Florida always gets a lot of water, but it's a little bit more than usual. And you see all these spinning vortices of energy coming in. I predicted that here on the West Coast, we're going to get back to back weather, bringing in a lot of snow this year.
Monday and for northern Bahamas as that pushes offshore and still maybe getting a shortwave trough for Tuesday, bringing some chances for some regular rainfall from storms that might pass through for New England.
So you got New York getting clobbered right now, and you're going to get another storm with a lot of cold weather come in and clobber it with a lot more rain once again. So you're going to have flooding, unusual. I think I saw somewhere it was like 99-year flood or something crazy. They always got to go big. So 1,000-year, 900-year, 99-year, whatever. I don't think there's any records of 1,000-year, but somehow they figured that out for the North Carolina mountains when that Hurricane Helene went all the way up into the mountains of North Carolina. So that's one of the things that we're going to see still. Now, we have not seen any hurricanes this year in America, guys. So that tells me that the deep state hasn't been able to punch them in here. All right. So that means the white hat group has power, enough counter weather modification, whatever, to basically stop some of that out. Now, unfortunately, we got the flooding in Texas earlier this year. Dr. Pete Chambers talked about that, and he talked about how he went in and he was basically just taking charge and all doing, directing people, brought in dogs and sending people out in boats. And then the Texas came in like 4 days later. Authorities came in and said, "You can't do that. We have to be at 4 days." They came in and tried to shut him down because they were saying he didn't have authority. And he just worked around them. So you guys in Texas got to get Dr. Pete Chambers. I can't say enough about the guys, but God, we need people with brains, guys. We've been electing these monsters to run the show.
A little bit of snow in the higher elevations. But as we get the storm system coming through for the West Coast for next week, this is Wednesday. This is going to bring some storms towards Northern California, a little bit of Oregon as you go through for Wednesday. That's going to pull through. Then the second system that's hitting over towards BC is going to move a little further towards the south as you go through for Friday.
So, yeah, weather system after weather system, bringing lots of snow, cold, and so forth this year. So it's coming. And this is the trend for the future, moving into the next several years, maybe decade long. We're going to see increasing problems with our weather. All right, so now let's look at, I haven't done this in a while. I used to do this at least once a week on my shows where I talk about all the unfortunate, all the people dying from COVID shot. So let's kind of bring this back up a little bit. And we can also talk about how Chat GPT could find nothing on Charlie Kirk being dead. Right, so here was the questions. ChatGPT can find no evidence that Charlie Kirk is dead. So where is Charlie Kirk buried? ChatGPT said the exact burial location of Charlie Kirk has not been publicly disclosed. So then they talk about what is known. His memorial service took place September 21st. His body was flown to Phoenix on 9/11, September 11th, on board Air Force 2. That way they could not look at the body, kind of like what they did with JFK. I don't think there was a body. So anyway, who signed his death certificate? ChatGPT said, I could not find any publicly verified information about who signed the death certificate for Charlie Kirk. All right, if you want to go deeper on this, because I'm like, guys, it was rigged, right? He didn't die, right? No one got shot in the throat, right? That's all stagecraft and all kind of crazy stuff. So some people still believe it. It's okay. Some people still believe in 9/11, on and on and on. But it is at some point going to become obvious. Now, we've seen some people out there that are still revealing very good information. I like that. I'm not going to point directions to any one person, but there are people that have a name that it's kind of like Candace Owens, right? Candace Owens, I think, is crushing it. She's really doing a good job of revealing more and more and more. I listened to her last night, and she was revealing some good stuff. So good for Candace, good for independent journalism, good for us, for people that take that on. All right, so you said the most recent credible news, official records. ChatGPT said recent credible news on Charlie Kirk's death. AP News, Reuters, PBS, Public Broadcastings. Yeah, so there's, again, it's the corrupt press, but who knows? Maybe it's been taken over, possibly. Or at some points, they're told to give this out, and they let them do their other BS. I don't know. So anyway, you said check the state of Utah medical examiner filings. ChatGPT said I was unable to locate any publicly available record from the Utah office of the medical examiner because they threw on Air Force 2 and got him out of there, or whatever supposedly body that was, right? So anyway, so there's a lot of my conclusion, because the key document, death certificate, which the signer's name is not publicly accessible, and no credible outlet has reported the signer's identity, I cannot provide a verified answer as to who signed Charlie Kirk's death certificate. So there's a lot more on this, but at this point, I'm like, it's going to get revealed when it gets revealed, all right? So now we still have in memory of those who died suddenly. Like I said, I used to do this every week. Haven't done it in months, many months, maybe a year. I don't know how long it's been. It's been a while. So this is just in the last week, October 20th through 27th. Every week there were like tons of people. So they do the research, a survey of the likely global toll of COVID vaccination based on the reports collected by a worldwide team of researchers this past week. So this is just the United States. They do it all over the world. And I used to do the, many areas of the world. And there are people that are dying like crazy, guys, and have been for quite some time. Nashville actress dead at 23. All right, so a lot of these people get these crazy diseases that come from vaccinations, or at least come from COVID vaccinations, because they actually have a list of consequences that you could suffer now, because when I do shows with Rafael Conquista, we've been revealing this for a long time. They remember at first there was people that came out. There's a vaccination thing that came out. It's like, here's the potential side effects, or this is the study, and it was all blank. And I remember a woman came in, and it was this pharmacist was like, oh yeah, there's paperwork that comes with vaccination, and she asked him, have you seen it? And he's like, no. And let me pull it out. So they pulled it out, and it was all blank. And he was like dumbfounded. He's like, I can't, say that you should get this vaccination because it's and a lot. But of course, there was a lot of people that didn't care, push it anyway. So, former actor, I remember this guy, Patrick De La Rosa, passes away at 64. A lot of these people will get no cause of death is reported. So I would go through these and I go, no cause of death reported. And I would just repeat that over and over and over and over again, because they don't want you to know. And now they don't even put anything. They don't even put no cause of death reported, because now we're onto their no cause of death reported means it's caused by COVID, right? COVID vaccination. So all of these people, that's why they put them in here. Now, sometimes they'll put in where these people were openly pushing the vaccination and then they died from it, right? Because they were pushing it. There's 1,111 people that are watching right now. That's awesome. Beautiful. Hey, everybody. So anyway, you got Jack DeJohnette has died at 83, congestive heart failure. One of the problems from the COVID vaccination, heart problems. Rock Singer dies at 71. No cause of death reported. Look, they said it. No cause of death reported. How can you have no cause of death? There's always a cause of death. So that's what they do, guys. They just hide it. Freestyle Fellowship members. Peace reportedly passes away. Hip hop group. And rapper Posta Boy at 44. So this was kind of crazy. Kiss, you guys that are older like me, or maybe just some of you young guys that are into rock and roll, classic, remember Kiss and the rock group. So another loss just days after Ace Frehley's death. Ace Frehley, the main guitar player, he's the lead guitarist. So he died 10 days ago, and the bodyguard for the group died. So I'm sure they all got, because they couldn't go out and perform on the road unless they all had vaccinations back in the day. All right. And everybody associated with them. And there were some people who didn't want to do it. And the leaders of the band or whatever said, you got to get vaccinated. And they pushed it. And some of those people died. I wonder if those people feel bad about that. Probably not. Because they're all Satanists, most of them anyway. So San Antonio artist Wayne Holtz has died unexpectedly. Bob Maggs, Ohio State football offensive lineman, 61, gone. And there it is, no cause of death reported. And Barstool Sports personality Cody Beef Frank has died at age 31, no cause of death reported. Raiders legend George Atkinson dies in Georgia, 78, no cause of death reported. Now I know I wasn't doing these for a while because I just came back onto YouTube. See how this works out. Milwaukee trainers mourn unexpected death of kickboxing champion Jeffrey Duke Rufus. No cause of death reported. Hockey world mourns the loss of goaltender at the age of 31. No cause of death reported. Doesn't that just is really, really, really odd? No cause of death reported. Yeah, it is. So again, the reason why they post a lot of these guys is they've done a little bit of research on them and find that they actually did get that vaccination. So, all right, athlete 27 died on September 7th. So at this point, virtually all of us know multiple people that have died. Right, so they can't hide this anymore. So journalists died suddenly. So years ago, it was died suddenly stuff. Adult onset of death syndrome, right? So we have SIDS, of course, sudden infant, and we have SADS, which is sudden adult death syndrome. So, and we know what they're all from, vaccinations, all right? So here we go. Pillar Philadelphia Journalism, died suddenly, no cause of death reported. Red Lobster co-founder, chain and restaurant chain Titan behind Olive Garden. Joe Lee dies after changing the way American dines. No cause of death reported. Days of Our Lives star Lauren Costello, no cause of death reported. Charlie Jablonski, industry leader, longtime NBC and NBC Olympics visionary, passed away at 69. So sometimes they would put that they just dropped dead, or they had, long illnesses after being vaccinated. So they don't do that anymore. There's just too many. But they do the research. Krista Mauricio, holistic nutritionist, sudden passing. She got vaxxed too. God, what are you thinking about? So, who is Ben Bader? Bader. 24-year-old digital influencer. No further details about the death of the digital influencer have been found as of now. Right? Nor will they be released because they know why. It was that injection. Maryland, Delaware, Charles Otto dies unexpected after more than a decade of service. Republican representing counties passed away unexpectedly. Elkhorn North football earns emotional win days after coach's infant son passes away. So they want children to get the newborns get the COVID vaccination. So there's babies. So here's the babies. They get a vaccination. 11 days old, 4-month-old, 8 days old, stillborn, 3 days old, 5 months, 6 weeks, 5 days, infant twin, infant, stillborn, 3 months, stillborn, 10-year-old Peyton. No cause of death reported. Jasper High School student unexpectedly passes away. No cause of death reported. Texas teen Larissa died suddenly at 17. What happened? No cause of death reported. All right. So as you guys can see, there's lots more. It's more than I've seen ever. All right. So what the heck? When do people wake up to this incredible bullshit? Very sad. All right, so here's the New York flooding. It had quite an impact. So I don't know. Did you New Yorkers get some of that because you got a baddie that's coming in there? I don't know. So you see, it's like New York City streets submerged as torrential rain hits the city. 2 dead in New York City after torrential rainfall. Basically, I got them in there. I guess they flooded their basement where they were. Heavy rain caused flooding in New York. Rain, high winds. I've seen videos. It's like crazy. The flooding in the streets. So anyway, and I guess you New Yorkers are going to get it round 2 here pretty soon. So stand by. Right. All right, so the devastation in Jamaica. With LifeWave, we have a doctor that's from Jamaica that lives here in the United States, has for a long time. She's in her 80s. Looks like she's 20 years younger from being on LifeWave for a long time. One of the reasons why I wanted to, hang out with her and do LifeWave, because I saw all these people that were, they looked a lot younger, right? So she said that it was somewhat devastating. It hit some of the hospitals, a couple of hospitals that need to be repaired anyway. and maybe that'll get them redone. But not a lot of people were killed. Fortunately, it hit the extreme eastern end of the island. So here's ground zero. You're going to see it in video. It's pretty significant what a Cat 5 can do.
Because of the lack of communication, but finally with the road open, we have arrived here in Black River. This is as bad of the damage as you're ever going to find in any hurricane, from Dorian, Michael, Beryl, you name it. This is catastrophic. Every direction, everywhere you walk, everywhere you look, nothing is the same. When a disaster reaches this scale, the destruction speaks for itself. Roofs are gone, walls torn apart, lives are upended. But that's not the story. The story is what's left standing and who. They made it through the wind, the surge, but the aftermath, that's a different kind of storm. It's the hard part, surviving what's left. Even the last place of refuge, the Black River Hospital, lies in ruins. I think everything you're saying has been demolished. What wasn't demolished?
The only thing that has been spared for the most has been the emergency room, just the downstairs section. I said admin block is upstairs. Everything else has gone. Every single thing.
Along the coast, the hospital stood like a last defense. A 10-foot seawall meant to keep the sea out. But Melissa came higher, stronger. Roofs peeled away and winds pushing 185 miles an hour. And still the staff stayed, moving patients through the wreckage, steady voices in the storm. The calm in a place built for healing, not surviving.
And the wind kept blowing and would never stop. It comes from that direction and it blows back to that direction. It was yeah, we were scared.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So when the hurricane went over the island, then the wind shifted and blew back the other way, and kept the winds going in the opposite direction again. So wow, they get hit pretty good, but looks like most of the people survived. Pretty amazing. I've been in some pretty crazy storms in Guam. We had basically a bunker house with thick windows, and I think there was like a wind gauge on the highest peak in Guam, and it broke. I think it hit like 100. They predicted probably the winds at that height were like over 200 miles an hour. So, I mean, you can survive these things if you have the right type of structure and you hunker down right. But it's pretty devastating. Good thing that we didn't get hit by those this year. So again, it's a good thing. So war and lots of wars everywhere, guys. Probably Venezuela, like we're talking about soon, and down in Rio de Janeiro, and also basically a power shift that's happening in Africa.
Turned into one of the most shocking political eruptions in East African history. The streets of Dar es Salaam, Dodoma, and Arusha are now centers of unrest, as angry citizens reject what they describe as a dictatorship under President Samia Suluhu Hassan.
So people are getting fed up with this election fraud bullshit, right? And in Tanzania, basically they run out what they call the dictator. They've raided everywhere. There's like, I saw somewhere there's like 600 people dead. It's, we're done with this election fraud bullshit all over the world.
A nation once praised for its calm democracy has been thrown into chaos. Viewers, before we begin, remember to like, share, and subscribe to AfriPlus News Channel for more credible, insightful, and policy-friendly analyses like this one. The youth of Tanzania have said no. They have refused to accept what they call the manipulation of democracy and the silencing of their voices. For many young Tanzanians, this protest is not just about politics. It is about dignity, justice, and freedom. But as the streets continue to burn, one must ask, how did a country once seen as a beacon of stability in East Africa reach this breaking point? Are these youth simply reacting to a rigged election, or are they rising against years of political frustration and unfulfilled promises? The situation has reached a frightening level. Reports indicate that protesters have razed down the official residence of the Speaker of the National Assembly, a powerful symbol of rebellion against what they view as a government that has failed them. Such an act sends a deep political message. The people are no longer afraid.
So yeah, people are no longer afraid, and we're going to start this. We've been speaking out. If we continue to get cheating, in this next election. I don't know, guys. I don't think people are going to be still. The whole world's ready to erupt on this election fraud. So the deep state is on super shaky ground, super shaky, right? So here's another one from Tanzania. It's spreading into other areas as well. So pretty crazy times.
Hello and welcome. Today we begin with the latest updates from a deadly turmoil in Tanzania. The protests that erupted after a contentious election in the country seem far from over. Instead, they have now split into Tanzania's neighboring country, Kenya. The border town of Namanga witnessed violent unrest, with Kenyans alleging the Tanzanian police targeted them. The police allegedly lobbed tear gas canisters across the border and fired live ammunition. The videos from the area showed protesters scattering in panic as tear gas and echoes of gunshots filled the air, leaving behind.
So you see there, they were like trying to drag a body out of the way, and more shots of fire, and then everybody just took off. So smart. So civil war in Sudan. So Africa is, there were many of us that were hopeful that President Trump's team would come in and would really crank down on the deep state very quickly. We would make an example of the deep state, and then we would spread, taking down the deep state around the world. It's not going as planned, or at least as we wanted it to. So the world is erupting. God help these people if they do this, continue to do this in the United States, because we will absolutely do this as well. All right. So we've been very patient. We've been waiting for this to happen. It still seems to be dragging on. I have hope, but we're going to see over this election that comes, I think on Tuesday, and then a year from that in 2026. If these two elections really go down, I think that America will erupt.
Because the Jews are not involved, or the Western side directly, even though Islamists are killing thousands, and of course the Arab supremacists are also killing thousands.
Yeah, somebody said, pray for the Christians in Nigeria. They're slaughtering the Christians on a massive scale in these areas.
Greta, where are you?
All right, so this is you're gonna right here. So all these people talked about. He says, Greta, where are you? We're hearing crickets. This might be the first you're hearing of all the violence that's happening in Africa right now. The Wine has talked about this for a little while. We tried to get a woman on, but she didn't want to come. I don't know what happened to her. Literally, we don't know what happened to her. But she was speaking out about a lot of this, and it's been going on for quite some time now. A word to you guys. This may be kind of traumatic. You're going to kind of see. You're not going to see it outright, but you're going to kind of see some disturbing scenes.
This is happening on the ground right now. It's absolute silence. We're not going to show you the end of this because, as you can imagine, yep, that's the end of that man's life. The last few seconds of it.
So they're killing Christians on a massive scale. So think about Mamdani, all right, Muslim. It's not probably going to work out so good in America. We're not going to put up with this, guys.
Now, satellite images now confirm that over El Pashar's Darajia neighborhood.
All right, so they came into this neighborhood, this whole neighborhood. So they have satellite imagery. So all of these different, all 6 of these different little satellite imageries are where people were slaughtered. Christians were slaughtered.
Here to show evidence of door-to-door clearance operation. Absolutely insane ethnic cleansing. Now, the numbers you see on the screen, we can zoom in on the number 1.
I mean, so you're not able to see the body so much, but you can see pools of blood. All right, there's serious slaughter of Christians going on there. Yeah, definitely we need to pray for these people.
You see bodies and blood. And it's also the number 5, you can see there the vehicle roadblocks, but the bodies are at this point on the ground across the whole area. Not a word, not a single word from the virtual signaling Free Palestine mob, because I don't think they want to even bother do their own homework to find out exactly what's going on. So they'll rather listen to CNN and Al Jazeera. They are gloating, they are celebrating, and seeing innocent people, their bodies all over the place. We're also going to be giving you the latest update on Tanzania as the protests are escalating. But yeah, as I said, it's shortly after this, we're going to come back live on TV.
All right, so you know, it's been a lot of time in the Middle East. Muslims do not get along with other religions. If there's ever a problem, they use that as an excuse to go house to house, like you're seeing here, and slaughter Christians, right? So we're going to have, we already do have Muslims in our government. Somali, who's a Somali woman that's from, was it Michigan, I think. So we have her, and soon for a mayor of the biggest city in the United States, Muslim, right? So the Muslim, they're not Ilhan Omar. That's it. Yeah, thanks, Adub. So as I can tell you, they don't play well with others, right? They're good people, and as long as they're in their country, running their country the way they want to run their country, with their Sharia law and so forth, which is not even close to our Constitution, they're okay, right? So nothing against Muslims, but we're definitely not a Muslim country, right? And to have Muslims come in and start to, take over cities, which they're doing, and to position themselves in political positions of power and mayors and city councils, and not going to work out good, guys. Not going to work out good, right? So, I've seen where President Trump is like stopping the immigration of Muslims. I don't know if that's true or not, but no commie Muslim can win unless this election is rigged for man dummy. All right, Georgia girl, coming from a New Yorker, so we'll see if you're right. I predicted months ago that he would win, right? So I think you guys are going to get stuck with him, and we'll see how that works out. There's been a lot of it. There's been a lot of movement to take him off the ballot and deport him, and all kind of that hasn't gone anywhere, right? So you have a mostly Democrat, and he's been promising free everything. Yeah, he's going to get voted in, guys. So I feel for you, Georgia girl, but we'll see. Maybe you're right. If you're right, then I'll give you a free X39, X49, right? So no, I was going to give all my people that do that have the wrenches I was going to give you guys a Christmas gift of X39, X49. So we'll get Mr. Mikey to basically get you guys give your info to Mr. Mikey. He'll give me your information, and I'll mail you out some the bundle, right? So that'll be my gift to you guys for helping us out. So appreciate you guys. But yeah, Georgia girl, I'll give you another one if Ma'am Donnie doesn't get in. So I'll give you two, right? I'm not a betting man, but I think I'm pretty much not going to give you a second one, but we'll see. If you're right, that's great. That means your intuition's better than mine. So my hat's off to you if that works out. All right, guys, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, even when things get shitty, right? Because that way you'll be able to survive it and thrive in it. Because the other side of this is going to be a miracle, absolute miracle. So with the destruction of an old system, there's always violence, right? So we're going to see that in America, unfortunately. That's the way these things happen, right? But I think the 1,000 years of peace that we're going to have after all of this, I don't think there's going to be any war on the other side of that. We're just going to get more peaceful, more loving. 1,000 years of more peaceful, more loving. I don't know. Well, I do know. I think that's the way it's going to be. So we'll see. Got ammo? Yeah. All right, guys. Good night. Lots of love, and I'll see you guys next time.